Good morning, guys. Today I have 71 candles to make, the entirety of last week's vlog to edit, and 168 pages of Frost Heart 2 Escape from Aurora to read. So let's get this show on the road, but first, coffee.
Split, cause I know that you will. Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.
So it's only 2 p.m. and I have made all of the candles I had to make. I think I said I had 71. And I have also finished Escape from Aurora by Jamie Littler. So I'm feeling very accomplished, although not too accomplished just yet because I still have at least 3 hours of a working day left to get through. But Frost Heart is the story of a boy called Ash who lives in this very snowy landscape where there are monsters in the snow. In this world, we have things called pathfinders, and they are people who go out on sleighs to visit all of the other strongholds because it is very difficult to get between them with all of the monsters in the snow, like in between the strongholds. So Ash is the son of 2 pathfinders who went on a mission many years ago and left him behind, and he is also what is known as a song weaver, which means that he can sing, and through the singing he can communicate with the monsters. And everybody fears the song weavers because they think that the monsters can brainwash the song weavers and turn them against their strongholds. So the people of Ash's stronghold find out that he's a song weaver and cast him out, and because of this Ash ends up on board the Frost Heart, which is a pathfinding sleigh, and he sets off to find his parents. So this is a sequel, obviously, so it doesn't follow that exact plot. Like, we moved on from there a little bit, and I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. I will say it took me nearly 300 pages to get into it properly. If you watch last week's vlog, you'll see at the end I was saying like it was just action scene after action scene after action scene, but I do really love the characters in this series. I even teared up at the end. It ends on a beautiful moment and also a really big cliffhanger, so I'm really excited for the 3rd one, which I think will be the last in the series. I also really love Luna, although my favorite character of all of them is Tobu, and I do really love our main character Ash as well because he's adorable. This book is also illustrated again by Jamie Littler, and the illustrations in here, I won't show you that one, it's kind of grim and a little bit spoilery. The illustrations in here are absolutely beautiful and really do add something to the story. So this will be my last book of the month. I'm not going to finish anything else in the remaining, how many hours do I have? 10 hours left of the month. And this was also my second and final read for Believeathon, which is a month-long readathon hosted by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. That centers around reading middle grade books. I've read Hollowpox and now also Frost Heart, which are the 2 that I desperately wanted to read, so I'm really happy with my progress, even though I didn't manage to read 1 middle grade book a week like I originally intended. And this was also a gift from Gav as well, so thank you so much, Gav, for sending this to me. This is also Gav's favorite series. He was very insistent about sending his friends copies of Frost Heart and then the sequel when it was released, so I'm really glad I read that. And I just realized that my next book is on my TBR cart, which is all the way over there, so I'm gonna have to go get it. So the next book I'm going to be picking up is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This was my Patreon Inner Circle book draw pick for November, and I didn't get to it in time, so it's going to leak into December, but I am going to be starting this today. This is the first book in Brandon Sanderson's young adult sci-fi series. I think it's his only young adult sci-fi. He definitely has young adult fantasy. I've heard absolutely excellent things about this, so I do think I'm going to really enjoy it. It follows a girl called Spencer whose father is a disgraced fighter pilot, but like in space, so like a disgraced space fighter pilot, but Spencer wants to follow in her father's footsteps minus the disgrace and join the flight academy to also become a fighter pilot. However, the shadow of her father's desertion does hang over her and people don't like her because of this. That is all I know about this. I don't really know anything about the plot. I just know a little bit about the main character. There's a character in here that everyone likes and I don't know what they're called. I think it's like a sidekick character and everybody really likes that character. For my Inner Circle Patreon pick, this was recommended by Kitty Kitty. So thank you so much, Kitty, for that, because I am very excited to read this one. And this one was also a gift from Linda, who is another one of my patrons. So thank you so much, Linda, for gifting this to me. You spoiled me rotten, and I believe this was a surprise gift for my birthday, actually, because Linda knew that I wanted this and I didn't have it. I've been reading a lot of Sanderson recently, mainly the Cosmere, so I kind of don't necessarily want to be going outside of the Cosmere now, because I do have 2 other Cosmere books on my December TBR, but like I said, I've heard excellent things about this and I'm really excited. So I'm going to be starting this tonight. Not sure how far I'm going to get, because I did get up at 8, which isn't ridiculously early, but I only fell asleep, I think, at around 3. So I haven't had a great deal of sleep, and I do plan on going to bed early tonight, but I still have the majority of the day ahead of me, so I'm sure that I will read at least 50 pages in this, I want to say, tonight. I also would really love to play Final Fantasy X tonight. I'm still working my way through the end game content, working on Monster Arena stuff at the minute, and I'm just real into that. It's kind of monotonous and repetitive, just collecting things with Monster Arena, but it's also very soothing. Like, Final Fantasy X is my favorite game of all time, but I've never done the end game content before, so just being like in a familiar world, playing a familiar game, real soothing for me. It's doing wonders for my anxiety at the minute, and also helping me deal with the Christmas rush and helping me to wind down, because I find that I get sucked into games a lot more and they hold my attention more when I'm distracted, when I'm anxious, when I'm really busy, than books do. So I would like to do some of that as well, but for now I think I'm going to pack just a few orders, because I've run out of medium-sized boxes and they will be arriving either tomorrow or Wednesday. So I can't package too much, but I would like to get just a few out, and then I'm going to see if I can get all of last week's vlog edited, because if I can do that, that will be a significant amount less than I have to do tomorrow. So I am currently working on editing that vlog. It's 5 PM, so I really like to not be doing this for much longer. I'm pretty much just gonna wait for Curtis to get home and then make dinner. But I needed to come and update you because there has been a change of plans and I am really excited. So I was just chilling, you know, just doing some editing, took a little break after editing Wednesday's clip, and I opened my messages and I had messages from the lovely, the wonderful Kelsey, also known as KJ Sutton, and I have just received a copy of Deadly Dreams in my inbox, which is the 3rd book in the Fortuna Swan series. I read the first 2 books, I think, in April. Absolutely adored them. It was when I just like started my fantasy romance kick, and yeah, God, I love them so much. So I have been eagerly awaiting the release of Deadly Dreams. I am quite good friends with Kelsey now, and myself and Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction are hosting a live show on my channel tomorrow with Kelsey to talk about all things writing, Faerie Smart, the Fortuna Swan series, and all that good stuff. But yeah, essentially I'm not going to be starting Skyward. I haven't started it yet, so while this has just appeared, I'm just going to read it right away, and by right away I mean later on, because right now I want to get some more of this video edited. If you guys don't know what the Fortuna Swan series is, it is a self-published fairy romance series. We are following a girl called Fortuna who is a nightmare, which is like a supernatural creature, and she can make people think that they're experiencing their worst fears as like an illusion kind of thing. And she is one of the last of her kind. Her brother went missing without a trace a couple of years ago, and she has been desperately searching for him, but she's found absolutely no clue where he's gone until a very powerful fairy male appears one day and tells her that he knows exactly where her brother is and can take her to him, providing that she marries him. And oh my god, I've just been thinking while I've been explaining what it's about, I've remembered like different elements of the story. Like there's a character called Oliver who I just remembered existed because I'm not the biggest fan of him, but like the whole situation with him, really excited to find out what's going to happen in Deadly Dreams regarding that. And there's also a character called Laurie who I really love. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with him in the next book. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I'm going to end up reading it, which actually I feel like this vlog is now about to get a whole ton more interesting, just because I will be probably losing my mind over Deadly Dreams. This series like tends to evoke like a really strong reaction from me. It just blows my mind, and I really love the characters and the romances, so I'm gonna be reading that very soon. I don't know what my plan for the rest of the evening is. I need to edit some more of this, but now that I've got Deadly Dreams I want to read, so I'll try to get all of this edited, but I will take a break for dinner and then I may go for a walk, and I definitely want a bath, and I also want an early night. Would still like to play Final Fantasy, but also reading. So yeah, I don't know what's happening anymore, but I'm so excited. We already know that things are not going to go well when this is the first thing that I see before I've even started the book. Somebody save me.
Can I tell you a secret? Might have to slide in close for you to hear it. Over that bartender yelling out them drinks. Will the cover band off key sings, yeah. Can I tell you a secret? Between you and me, all I can think about is leaving here early to get you alone. Pulling you into me, not even music on. Nothing but you, my tea, white sheets between you.
So I started filming in front of my Christmas tree because it's December and I like the change of background, and I like my tree. I think it's really pretty. Even though it has like 95 different types of bauble on it, I like the eclectic cozy Christmas look. And we have my little stag here who only gets to come out in Christmas, which is sad because he's so pretty and glittery. But anyway, I digress. I was just about to put my filming setup away and I realized I should probably come and give you guys a little bit of an update. I just don't know what's going on with me. I can tell this month is not going to be a productive reading month because I can't work out a schedule of like when to read my books and what order to read them in to read everything I need to and everything I want to. So I'm just like grabbing at things constantly. We already had a spanner in the works when I picked up Deadly Dreams last night, but let me tell you, I do not regret it. I'm 20% in now, which the book is like 530 pages, so just under 110 pages into it. I can't tell you anything about it, but like I love Laurie. Don't like Oliver. Oliver can choke, not because of him, like he's fine, but he just throws a spanner in the works that I just don't appreciate. Like he can go in the bin, not a fan. But Laurie, and of course Collis, but Laurie, yes. And this book is already just is hurting me a bit. Kelsey tweeted me, she's also told me repeatedly that she hopes this book makes me cry, and I'm like, am I gonna cry? I don't know, because I am emotionally into these books. Like it is more emotion than anything. Kelsey writes really great, dramatic, emotionally impactful stories with characters that you love. Like Fortuna is impulsive, she's fiery, she does stupid shit. I just found out actually that she's a Scorpio, which is shocking because she has mad Taurus energy, because she is also extremely loyal and puts her family before everything else in her life. She appeals to my traits. Like I say she has mad Taurus energy, I'm a Taurus. She appeals to those traits that I have that I'm not necessarily proud of. She's ridiculously stubborn, and I get that. Like she's ridiculously stubborn even when she shouldn't be, to the point where she knows she's being stubborn and she knows that this principle that she had is irrelevant now and doesn't matter much to her anymore, but because it is a principle she had, she will stick to it even when she needs to let it go. My whole point of this tangent, I think, was to say that I am emotionally invested in these books, so there is a chance that I could cry, but I don't cry at books very often. So we'll see how that goes. But let me tell you, this is already making me feel sad. I think that this is gonna break me, because Kelsey keeps telling me it's gonna break me, and after Restless Slumber I just could not stop thinking about it. But if this book was a movie, it would 100% be like washed out cool tones and desat. Like it's super grim right now and the weather's also cold, so that's the vibe I'm in with that. But I did also pick up another book today because I got a comment about the Georgia Nicholson series while I was putting my makeup on, and I thought, you know what you should be doing right now while you're putting your makeup on? You should be listening to the audiobook on your TBR, because sadly this book, which is Are These My Bazoomas I See Before Me, is one of the books that I would not have got to if I was prioritizing my books in terms of like, I need to read these, then like I desperately want to read these, and then I want to read all of them. That is my problem. There's none that I want to read more than any others. But I thought, instead of just having some dead time here, why don't you put on your audiobook while you're doing your makeup? So I have started Are These My Bazoomas I See Before Me, another book that has the potential to make me cry, but for very different reasons. If you guys are unfamiliar with this book and this series, this is the 10th and final book in the Confessions of Georgia Nicholson series. I talk about this all the time, how this was my favorite series from childhood, and it also has like deeper emotional meaning that I will get to soon. But I adored these books when I was a kid and I was reading them. Like I caught up on the few that were published before I started reading them, and then these were pretty much the only books that I would get new. I think I used to get these upon release, the Harry Potter books and the Twilight books when I was like 13 onwards, because I read Twilight the year it was released when I was 13. And that is like no mean feat, because I used to go to the library all the time. I come from quite a poor family, so only real special books I would get new. This series was one of them. I absolutely adore it, and it is a young adult coming of age story. There's nothing like dramatic or special about the plot. It's told in diary format, and it is just this girl who was 13 at the start. I think she's 16 by the end of the series, growing up, going through puberty, having altercations with boys, learning how to kiss and all of this stuff. But it is also very funny. It's a little bit outdated in its terms, so I would say that like if you want to go into this as a new reader, the terminology is outdated. Like there's a little bit of fatphobic language throughout this series, but this series shaped a lot of my life. Like the speech in here, because it has a very unique voice, and the audiobooks are told by Louise Renison, which is the only reason I listen to the audiobooks as opposed to reading these. And Louise Renison does an absolutely amazing job of narrating Georgia, but they have like almost a unique language. There is like a glossary in the back of the words that Georgia and her friends make up. This shaped my language when I was a teenager, and this also makes me think about my mum a lot, because there is a book in this series called Startled by His Fairy Shorts, and all of the titles are quotes from the book at like a random point. Like I laughed out loud when Stop in the Name of Pants was referenced again in this, because I forgot where that actually comes into it, and it is a hilarious moment. But my mum would see me reading these books, and I would also talk about them to her and reference them, and for some reason, like it's not just this quote, there are others as well, but Startled by His Fairy Shorts became like a running joke, where even up until the point where like my mum died when I was 25, she would just randomly point to one of our pets, or like in a random conversation she would just say, were you startled by his/her furry shorts? And that is something I think about every time I think about this series. I don't remember if I got to this point in my story because I've gone off on a tangent, but I never read this book. It was released when I was 17, and around the age of 15, 16 I stopped reading so avidly. I used to read like 10 books a week, and I started to socialize more. I was a very lonely child. I was an only child. I didn't make friends easily. I still don't, but I did start socializing more from the ages of like 15 to like 21, and then I became a bit of a recluse again. But this was released when I was 17, and reading was just not something I was doing, and then it got so long that I was just like, oh, I should probably read that, and then never did. So I'm reading this for the first time, and when I think about this series, all I think about is my mum of my childhood. I could get emotional just talking about that, to be fair. So this has the potential to make me cry at the end, because it is not, this sounds really fucking stupid, but it's the end of an era in terms of this series of books, and it also feels to me right now like closing a chapter on my childhood, which is something I struggle with a lot, especially the last couple of years. I think it's something that we all go through as adults, and it's one of the reasons why things like retro games and things from, for my generation, like the 90s are so sought after and so nostalgic, because when you get older you realize in a lot of cases not everybody has a good or at least okay childhood, but in a lot of cases you realize that your childhood was a time when you were safe and you didn't have problems and responsibilities, and all of these things that are going on now were just not an issue for you. So as I get older and I get more responsibilities and things get more stressful, and I'm just like stressed all the time, I long for my childhood. And especially with losing my mum, it is something that I think about a lot and wishing I could go back to childhood. So closing a chapter on my childhood is something that feels like quite emotionally significant to me right now. So I could just cry because this is over, but I'm excited, I'm trepidatious. It's also become a thing, like I just never finished the series, and just finishing it feels like the end of something. And I'm weird about stuff, like I don't like change. I very much think about like chapters in my life and closing the door or closing the last page of this book. So yeah, I feel weird, and I've been talking for a long time considering I just wanted to say a little bit about Deadly Dreams and let you know that I picked up that audiobook. I didn't even tell you how far into this I am. I'm not very far. I'm on page 23. I'm not sure how quickly I'll read this. I'll try and listen to it at any availability where I have time for an audiobook. The issue with me in audiobooks is that I don't retain things through my ears very well. So like, some people listen to audiobooks while they clean. I can't do that, because as soon as my hands are really busy like that, my brain starts thinking about stuff. Like I discussed a couple of weeks ago how I'm always thinking about the next thing I need to do while I'm currently doing something. If I'm listening to an audiobook and I'm doing something physically consuming, I guess. My mind just starts to wander and I start to daydream. I'm a little bit daydreaming. I'm just never thinking about what I'm currently doing. So I don't have as many opportunities to listen to audiobooks as a lot of people do. Great times for audiobooks for me is when I'm driving, but lockdown, pandemic, not really going anywhere that's more than like 2 minutes away. I'm gonna go put my books away and import the footage that I've just filmed. I have the live show with Kelsey tonight. I'll get some food in between editing and then read a bit more of Deadly Dreams, and I'll talk to you guys when I have something to say or when I'm sobbing. Hey, so it's been a couple of days and I have not checked in with you. What do I even have to update on? The live show with Kelsey on Tuesday was fab. I had a great time. A lot of people seem to have really enjoyed it as well. I haven't updated you guys because like yesterday especially was just stressful. Nothing was going right at all. I ordered 2 items of stock for 2 different like processes last Friday, and normally my stock arrives like the day after. So if I order on Friday afternoon, it usually arrives Tuesday because it's dispatched on Monday. The first of those items has just arrived. So I had no jars, so I couldn't make any candles, and I had none of the like medium-sized boxes I used, so I couldn't pack orders. I've been like piecing together, like if you have received an order in a box that you do not usually receive from me, it's because I've been through my house and emptied out all of the boxes of the right size that I could find so that I could actually progress with something. Yesterday I finished the tops and stuff on the candles that I'd made on Monday, dropped 2 trays of candles. Luckily only 2 candles smashed, but that was just not a good time. I was trying to finally pack some orders after I'd searched for all these boxes, and the service that I used to print my postage labels was down and was just really slow and taking forever. We ordered bubble wrap, like me and Curtis buy bubble wrap together because it's cheaper to buy more rolls and then we just split it. We ordered that last week. It was supposed to arrive on Monday. It arrived this morning, so I had 1 last roll of bubble wrap left on Tuesday when it was supposed to arrive. Curtis took it from me because he needed it, thinking that the bubble wrap would arrive on Wednesday. Didn't, so I had no bubble wrap yesterday as well. So I was using a scratch from that. I do tend to recycle my postage materials that I get in deliveries. And then on top of all that stuff, when I woke up yesterday morning, there was a smell kind of coming through to the kitchen. I don't know if you guys will remember kind of the layout of that area of my house, but there's like a big arch because the living room is in the middle of the house, so we have no windows in the living room, so there's no door on the kitchen to kind of allow light to come through. There's a guy come in today to measure up to put doors on there because the draft from the back door in winter is freezing, and where the sofa is, I think I've mentioned this before, the draft coming from the back door and the back windows just like comes straight towards where I sit on the sofa. So that is getting sorted, but because of that draft there was a terrible smell coming from the kitchen. It smelled like cat poop, and that's weird to start off with because Hamilton doesn't poop in the house. He has a litter box but he doesn't poop in it. He always poops outside unless he's desperate and I'm in bed or something, so he's on his own for quite some time. So it was weird for him to have pooped anyway. So I spent all day, I'm not kidding, I spent all day searching for this smell. Like every hour or so I would go and like dig through areas and try and find out where the smell was coming from. I emptied the litter tray even though it was fairly clean and scrubbed the litter tray because I had the litter bag, so I scrubbed under the litter bags in case it was like a lingering smell in there. Wasn't that. We scrubbed out the bins, so we got all the bags out of the bins, scrubbed all of those and bleached them to make sure it wasn't coming from there, which it didn't smell like it was, but there was a possibility, and it was coming from the area where the bins were. So after the bins had been scrubbed and it was still there, I didn't know what to do, so I was on my hands and knees smelling the carpet to see if Hamilton had peed anywhere. Everything smelled fine. I was crawling around under the table, under the like washing maiden where all of our laundry's drying. Absolutely nothing. I'd been in all of the cupboards, stuck my head in all of those to see if it was coming from there. And then at 11 p.m. last night, me and Curtis just could not take it anymore because it had been bothering me all day because I worked downstairs, and when Curtis came down in the evening, like it started to get to him too. So we pulled the fridge and the freezer out, which was difficult because of the way the carpet has been installed in the kitchen. I do need to rip that carpet up because like carpet in the kitchen is not my favorite anyway, but it's a big job because I have to like get it from under all of the cupboards and the fridge and the freezer and stuff. But we discovered that the carpet has been cut around the fridge and the freezer because when we moved we didn't have any money, so we kept a ton of stuff that the lady who owned the house before us didn't need, like her fridge and freezer. So we couldn't get the freezer out because the carpet was like wrapped around the legs of it. But it took us a while and we got it out and we discovered what the smell was. I didn't even know these things existed. You know, you have a drain in the back of your fridge, like I knew that existed, and that runs into a drip tray. Like I thought that the process with that would be a lot more sophisticated, but there's literally a plastic tray that sits outside outside of the fridge under where that drainage is, and the moisture and excess condensation from your fridge runs down the back of the fridge into the drain and into this drip tray, which is fine, normally works pretty well, unless something happens like you spill milk in your fridge, or you have, I don't know, like crumbs that fall down there and end up in the drip tray. And I am not even kidding, like it was disgusting. It wasn't even like moldy, it was more like fermented, and to get it off it's like clipped on but also glued onto the tank, and Curtis had to watch a YouTube video to figure out how to get it off, and he pulled on it and he was like, the video said that you do have to pull quite hard and it seems like it's gonna break but it won't, and I honestly thought that he was gonna pull back and like tip the entire thing in his face. I was terrified. We got all of that done, we bleached all of that, bleached the inside of the fridge as well to make sure that there wasn't any lingering stuff left in the drain, and all is sorted now. But yesterday was a really stressful day, which is my point. I wasn't even going to tell you all of this, but I thought I may as well. But the reason that I haven't really updated you is because I'm still reading Deadly Dreams. I am loving it so much. Like, it's just so bleak, which based on the ends of Restless Slumber I kind of assumed it would be, and it is so sad that even the happy moments hurt. So like, a no context, no spoiler overview, all of the characters just had a really rough time at the end of Restless Slumber, and they are all dealing with that in Deadly Dreams, and they all know that each other is sad, but a lot of them don't know the reasons why some of them are sad. So everyone is just being nicer to each other than they normally would be. So you have all of this sadness while people are dealing with all of their own things and just not having a great time, and then you have these just like beautiful moments where somebody goes out of their way to comfort them or support them or do something for them, and oh god, it just hurts so much. I finally got to a point now, like 58% of the way through, so over 250 pages in, more like 300 pages in, where I'm just like truly happy and I'm loving it so much. But based on some of the things that Kelsey said in the live show, I'm a little bit worried about some elements that are going to be coming into it in this second half. The plot is really good in this one as well. It contains like a legendary fae character from folklore that is gender bent, and we also have some other like legendary supernatural character creatures into it as well, and I'm really enjoying the addition of them. So the plot is really good. I'm definitely more focused on the characters because I'm emotionally invested in this, and I'm emotionally invested in the characters. I adore Fortuna. She is a deeply flawed main character, but I find how irritating she can be very relatable. Just things like how stubborn she is, like I can relate to being that stubborn, so even though what she's doing is really annoying me, I always understand where she's coming from, so I can't hate her for it. Like, I'm always rooting for her. It's good, but there's more character stuff coming and I'm just confused as to how it's gonna work. So I should be finishing that tomorrow at least, if not tonight. Kelsey really thrives on the pain of her readers as well. Like, my messages with her are wild because I'm telling her how much everything hurts and she's just living her best life. But there is a particular thing apparently that happens in this book that she would really like to see my reaction to. Not really looking forward to that because she kind of told me whereabouts in the book it is, and I'm not incredibly far away from it, so I'm a little bit scared, but I should be finishing that soon. But right now I'm going to make a list of the candles that I need to make, like the ones I need to make most immediately for the oldest orders. I'm then going to proof my November wrap-up, which was edited and everything and uploaded all yesterday, but I just need to proof that and stuff. Then I'm gonna crack on and make some candles because my jars arrived. Really annoying. The courier delivered them when I was in the middle of reading one of the more romantic scenes of the book while I was taking my lunch break, so that was annoying. Every time I get to like a really good part or a really emotional part or a really romantic part, something interrupts me. Like yesterday it was Curtis going into the kitchen to make his lunch and starting to play a football commentary video while the main characters are having like a deep emotional moment, and I just like was losing my shit. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go and get on with, and I'll let you know when my heart breaks, I guess. It's 1:10 in the morning and I'm having a dilemma and I don't know what to do. So I'm reading Deadly Dreams on my Kindle and I'm 75% of the way through now, and oh, it just hurts. It hurts so much. And I just, you know when you're reading a book and you want to continue because it's really good, but you don't want to continue because it hurts and you know it's gonna hurt more. Like, I know that this is just gonna get worse. It's just gonna hurt me more, but I want to keep reading. Like, I'm not tired right now, so I don't want to go to bed, even though I should, because I have actually been maintaining a decent sleep schedule, but I'm not tired, so I want to keep reading. I have 25% left, which to be fair is over 100 pages. It's like 135, but I could finish this tonight. But I know that the worst is coming like real soon, and do I want to read that before I I go to bed, because I don't even think it's gonna have a happy ending after the worst does come. I'm considering staying up and reading it, because if I go to bed now, I'm going to be awake for ages, because I'll be thinking about the book as well. Like, I hate when I get in this position where I really want to read the book because it's good and I need to know what happens, but I don't want to read the book because I'm scared, but I can't do anything else because I'm thinking about the book. So I don't know whether to just stay up for a couple of hours and put myself out of my misery, or to put the book down now and go to bed. But then I'm also like, I'm alone right now. Curtis has already gone to bed, so there will be no disruptions throughout the last 25% of the book, which is also a positive. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna do it. I don't want to because I feel like I'm very close to the worst happening, and when I get to that point I won't be able to stop until the end, and there's 100 and something pages until the end, and I don't want to read all that in one go. I don't know, I'm struggling, I'm having a dilemma, and I thought I would let you guys know because I'm just sat here dying. So it's 3 AM. I'm not done. I don't even know how far in I am. I'm just not happy. Not happy at all. I am 89% of the way through, so I have like 53 pages left for tomorrow. I've passed. I'm like just whining. You know, I'm past the point of being like, oh my god, it's so good, I need to read it, but it's hurting, I need to read it too. Oh my god, I need to know what happens, but I'm too scared. So I don't think that this book is going to end well. Just don't think it's going to end well. So I'm going to go to bed, and hopefully I feel like I've got myself to a place right this minute where I'm tired enough that I will fall asleep easily and the book won't keep me awake. But oh, Kelsey, why? Kelsey keeps telling me it's all going to be okay at the end, and that's just what I'm holding on to. However, she changed her original schedule of 1 book every 6 months to probably 1 book a year. So everything's gonna be okay in 3 years. What am I supposed to do in the next 3 years? I'm dreading editing this vlog because it's gonna be really long. I'm gonna go to bed and I'll come cry at you tomorrow. Good morning. I just finished Deadly Dreams. It's 11 AM. I got up at 9 so that I could read for a little bit before I started work, and I think it's not quite 11, it's like 10:45, and I need to get on with some work, but I finished Deadly Dreams. I didn't cry. The chapter after I went to bed was not fun. It was just not fun, and it hurt a lot, but I have hope, you know. I have hope. The ending, like where it ended, I'm concerned and I'm confused. I just feel like, no, I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say I feel like it can only go up from here, but I don't think it can, because I've known Kelsey for most of this year now, and she thrives on pain. So I'm not really sure how to review this because I don't know what I've said while I've been reading it. But if you like fairy romance and if you like pain, would definitely recommend the Fortuna Swan series. It's kind of like reading an angsty romance novel, like any kind of standard new adult romance novel where like something real dramatic happens and that kind of ruins the romance in it. But imagine that on repeat without a happy ending, because it's a series and not a standalone. Oh, I'm in pain. I did write some stuff down in my notebook, so I can give you the trigger warnings. There are a lot of like sexual assault triggers in here and rape triggers, so definitely be cautious of that if you are wanting to read this series. And if you go into book one thinking it's not too bad, it's not too present, still be cautious because it does become very present in book 2 and 3. We also have trigger warnings for trauma and PTSD. Pretty much the entirety of book 3 focused on trauma and recovery and multiple aspects of it. There are multiple female-female relationships in this that I thoroughly enjoyed, especially one in particular. I don't know, I'm like so deeply emotionally invested in this series. I mean, it was 530 pages. I think it could have been longer, but I personally like very long, very slow books. I could have had a book that was maybe not twice the length, but considerably longer, with like the plot more, not necessarily fleshed out or developed, but like more slow build up to the plot, because it is quite fast paced in elements. And as you guys know, fast-paced books aren't my favorite, but the characters in here, like Kelsey writes a very compelling, fast-paced, addictive story with characters that you don't necessarily like all the time, but they are extremely relatable and they pull you in with your emotions. And then when all of these bad things happen to them, you're like, I just want happiness, which makes you keep reading. But it's just sad. It's sad and it's painful. And I finished the book and I want to die. I haven't put it through my rating system yet. It's gonna be interesting because there is a section in my rating system. I use Corpile, which was created by G from Book Roast, because I do always get questions about that. And there is a section for enjoyment. And I'm probably gonna put it as a 10. But have I enjoyed myself? Absolutely fucking not. So yeah, I hurt. What I have to do now, and what I did after Restless Slumber, is that I kind of just have to block it from my mind, because dwelling on it will just make it hurt more, and it's not like I can continue reading the series and like get a resolution or get any happiness. Kind of hate that I'm reading these as they're being released. So yeah, I'm just gonna go forward being sad, and I will probably start a new book as soon as possible to try and ease that pain. But I did enjoy it very, very much. I adored it. I don't think it's my favorite in the series though. I don't know if Restless Slumber might be. The plot is definitely better in Deadly Dreams. I thoroughly enjoyed the plot and the introduction of a lot of legendary like folklore and legend characters in there, and the ways that they play, and also how there's multiple elements to the plot. And I think that's why I said I would have appreciated like a slower build up to them, just because there's like multiple things going on to kind of like set up for the plot twists. But in Restless Slumber, I do think there were maybe too many elements in it for the length of the book, but in this I enjoyed all of the plot elements more. But why do I enjoy Restless Slumber more? Restless Slumber is really painful. I think it was like less painful, and that the end was really painful for Restless Slumber, but then throughout most of it, it was just like the normal level of angst, whereas this one is like extreme angst. And then the more you read, the more into it you get, the more happiness you want for the characters, and they're just getting more pain. I don't know which one was my favorite. Probably, oh, I don't know actually, because thinking about it, the plot in Deadly Dreams was really good and better than Restless Slumber. I don't know, it's hard for me to say what's my favorite when all these books do is hurt me, to be honest. It's hard because now I'm craving like a happily ever after, and I want to read something that's going to kind of satisfy that. But I knew as soon as I started Deadly Dreams, I knew that this would put me on a fantasy romance binge again, which I can't do because I still need to continue my epic fantasy kind of thing that I'm doing for this month and next month, and then I can take a little bit of a break and binge whatever the hell I want. It is the Polathon this weekend, the weekend Polathon. It started today, Friday, goes through till I think Sunday. I was going to pick up a book for that. I was going to read Sophie Anderson's first book. Is it The House with Chicken Legs? Maybe, but I did already add Deadly Dreams to my TBR. Took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, and I have to film my entire own TBR video tomorrow, which takes a long ass time to film and a long ass time to edit. And for the next probably 2 weekends, I don't think I'm going to take a day off. I think I'm going to work right through, because I want to close at the end of next week, but I also want to clear through orders as quickly as possible now and just have it done, so that shortly after I'm closed, I'm done everything's gone and I can take a break because I've ordered some wool and some knitting needles. I've been knitting since I was 7. I haven't knit in quite some time, and I have like 100 knitting needles upstairs. I found something really cool actually. This is a complete tangent. It's a knitting gauge, and it has like row counters and stuff on it, and a gauge for needles, and on the back it says something like the handy guide for the wartime knitter, because I have like 3 generations of my family sewing and knitting things. One of my great aunts or great aunts I think was a seamstress, and I have some absolutely beautiful vintage fabric that I just will never use because I can't use a sewing machine for shit. Like, I can cross stitch, I can embroider, I can knit, I can crochet, although I don't like it much, I prefer knitting. I can hand sew, but a sewing machine, absolutely 100% not. I have like an 80s Singer, I think. It might be older than that. Real good sewing machine. I just have no idea how to use it, and I'm just not a patient enough person, I think, for a sewing machine and working out the tensions and everything. I probably could do it if I put my mind to it, but I had a terrible experience trying to learn how to sew on a sewing machine. I don't think machine sewing is for me. I would really like to get back into it, but I enjoy the process of crafting and knitting, especially because it's like kind of an anxiety reliever, I guess. So my wool will arrive at some point. It'll probably take a while because of Royal Mail delays. I'll show you what I got when it arrives, but I'm going to be knitting a blanket, and I'm not even doing it because I want the blanket. I'm just doing it because I want to knit. But I don't know how I got on this tangent about the 1940s knitting gauge thing. So my point was that I just can't do pull-a-thon, but I will be doing the week-long one in February, and I will probably read at least one of Sophie Anderson's books then. So my next book I will be picking up is Skyward, which I believe I already explained to you at the beginning of this vlog when I thought I was going to start it, but never did. So I'm going to go and finish the tops and put some glitter on those candles, and then put labels on them, pack some orders, make some more candles. Good morning, guys, although it is early afternoon now because I did sleep in a bit because it's Saturday, but I'm just getting ready to film my entire own TBR video. Curtis convinced me last night that I should turn my alarm off, and I listened to him and I said, if I wake up at midday because of this, I'm completely blaming you, because this video is going to take me ages to film, and I woke up just past 11, so not quite midday but later than I would have liked to. But I'm just going to tilt you down a bit because it's a bit of a high angle. My ring light is just where I left it when I put it away after filming last week. Ignore I've got a box of stock in the background, but I wanted just to come and open this for you guys because this is from a publisher. It's from Harper 360, and I do know what this is, but I've forgotten, so let's have a look. I'm being a little bit more picky about the arts I am accepting and requesting at the moment because I have quite a few. Oh, I remember. Cool. Does this have a press release with it? No, it does not. Ooh, it does have a bookmark with it though. So this is Unchosen by Catherine Blair. I don't know what this is about, but I requested it because I've read The Beckoning Shadow by Catherine Blair, and I really enjoyed this. This one is a young adult kind of sci-fi story. It's weird that I liked this because it is very fast-paced. It's almost a superhero story. It's about a group of teenagers that have powers. The main character is called Vesper. Yeah, Vesper. And interestingly, I've been talking about this with Ashley recently because Ashley reads Fortuna Swan as well, and she was saying that she's never known a character to have a power like Fortuna's, and I said I've only read one book with power like that, and it was this one, because the main character Vesper is a harbinger, and she can make your fears manifest, but she literally like pulls them out of your brain and manifests them into real life. And she realized that she could do this and thought she was a danger to her family, so she runs away, where she meets a group of other teenagers who have also run away or been cast out, and through doing this she finds out about a competition being run where if you win, I think, is it $1 million, and also the chance to have something from your past unwritten. So it's kind of like erasing something from time. You will still know that the thing happened, but aside from that it will be like it never happened. Really enjoyed this. Was supposed to have a sequel. I'm not sure if the series got dropped. It doesn't need a sequel, but I would have liked it to, because I did surprisingly really enjoy that. Like, I don't like superheroes, I don't like fast-paced YA, but that one really did it for me. So when I saw that this was available, I jumped at the chance. But let me see what it's about. She can make the end of the world into her own new beginning. Charlotte Holloway always lived in the shadow of her siblings, even before a virus-like curse spread across the world. So sci-fi again. With one sister now a commander of survivors survivors and the other branded the chosen one, Charlotte never thought she'd be the Holloway to save the planet. But when their settlement is raided, Charlotte decides to take her sister's place as prisoner and choose her own destiny and maybe end the curse in the process. Post-apocalyptic anxiety handled with humor and heart, a contagion transmitted by eye contact that ratchets up suspense and action, romance on the high seas with high stakes and sizzling attraction, fiercely feminist fantasy that asserts the power of identity, choice and hope. When is the release date on this? The 26th of January, so I thought that this was later in the year. I will have seen that it was January and requested it because it's Catherine Blair, but now I have yet another January arc, which is one of the reasons I'm being pickier about arcs these days, because they are all coming due. I think I have 4 arcs for January now. That's a lot. That's a lot of arcs I gotta read. But thank you so much to Harper360 for sending this my way. Loved Catherine Blair's previous book and I hope I enjoy this one as well. Oh no, it's, yeah, January 21. This is weird. Is this an American arc? Yeah, it says tentative price $17.99. I've never had, I don't think, one of these arcs before that has the advanced readers edition thing on the front, so that's interesting. I did start a book last night. I did finally start Skyward. I'm only 46 pages into it, so I can't tell you too much about it right now, but the writing style is weird actually, because I know it's young adult, but I still expected it to kind of feel Sanderson-y in the writing, and it does feel kind of like dumbed down writing right now. Like he's gone out of his way to make it more simplistic than it needed to be for it to be young adult, but it is really fast paced and the chapters are really short. Like I read so much last night because after the first 2 chapters there wasn't a chapter more than like 5-6 pages, so I will be continuing on with that later. But you know, I feel like I should eat. I don't want to because I've only just got ready to start filming, but I feel like I should get something to eat before I start this video. I might set up everything. Not that I can really because I have to pull everything down from shelves, but I might set up a little bit. Then crack on with filming this video and then crack on with editing it. This video, honestly, I will probably say at the beginning of it and you will have seen it by the time this vlog goes up. I hate filming it. I hate editing it, but I love the end product and I love that it is like the basis for a space on the board, the viewer recommend space, and that you guys can pick the books from my collection that you want me to read. And seeing as the viewer recommends came up in the last Bookopoly, I always get really excited when it comes up because I don't do anything with the comments on that video. I just leave them to pick from when I'm doing Bookopoly. So aside from glancing through as they're coming in, I have no idea what's in there until it comes to Bookopoly and I have to pick a book. So yeah, I'm gonna go get on with that. Hopefully do some reading tonight, and then tomorrow is candle making. Good evening, or I should probably say good morning because it's like 1:12 a.m, something like that. That was really specific for me to then follow it by saying something like that. So I'm pretty much here to wrap up this vlog. I have been reading Skyward. I'm 157 pages into it. Yeah, I'm on page 158. I did not read a single page yesterday. I've read just over 100 pages of this today. I'm still a little bit hazy on like the plot of this. It follows a girl called Spencer whose father is a deserter. He was a fighter pilot and they had this big battle because humans landed on this planet running away from something and they ended up kind of stranded there, and they are under constant attack from what I'm assuming is an alien race called the Krell. And when the book starts off and Spencer's really young, they have to live underground because they can't fight back. However, they have started building fighter planes. During the prologue of this book, the battle starts against the Krell that allows them to start building on the surface and actually expand and have like a military base and a military academy and stuff. And something happens in that battle and Spencer's father deserts. He runs away from the fight and he is now branded a deserter, and Spencer is pretty much not allowed to do anything because of this. Like, it's real harsh. She lives in his shadow and they do try and stop her from getting into the flight academy, which is kind of understandable for a deserter, although like what are equal opportunities? But they also do other things to her, like they're just really, really mean. She has no friends and her family aren't allowed to have like actual jobs because her father was a deserter. And the prejudice that is it the creator of the flight academy? She's called Ironsides and she was like the leader in this battle that allowed them to be able to live on the surface of the planet. She is awful. Like, she is so mean. So that is all I know about it so far. I don't really know about the plot. I'm thinking that the planet, like, it has been mentioned in here that some people think that the planet that they landed on is actually old Earth, and I did have that feeling because there's things like, there's rats there and other like normal animals that you wouldn't expect on like a random planet. But I'm enjoying it so far. It is really fast-paced and it's not very like dense. I think I mentioned, was it yesterday, that the writing does seem to be a little bit dumbed down, like more dumbed down than it has to be, but then it's still pretty heavy on some of the science things to the point where like I don't really understand some of them. So it's dumbed down in some ways but not in others. The character of Spencer, I don't really know how I feel about her, because when she's on her own and there's nobody else around, she's fine and I don't mind following her, but she is very aggressive and obviously like she has pretty much no social skills. She doesn't know how to deal with people because people have hated her pretty much her entire life, but like she's outwardly aggressive. Like, I get being defensive and when people criticize you, like getting real defensive about it, but she's like openly aggressive and like goes at people. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about her right now. She's also incredibly judgmental considering how judgmental people have been about her, and yeah, it's not super pleasant being in her perspective right now. But I am enjoying this. The chapters are super short, like there's a ton of 5-page chapters, and I think it's not going to take me too long to read this. I'm going to aim for 100 pages a day of this until it's done. I'm going to go to bed pretty soon. I would like to read maybe 50 more pages or so. I do have a very busy week ahead of me because in terms of like making candles, packaging orders and everything, I'm in like end game mode now. So I've literally wrote a list of every single candle I have to make and I'm just making them all. Kind of, I want to be done. I want a nap. So I want to finish all of my candles next week. So maybe not too much reading in next week's vlog, maybe pretty much just finishing Skyward, and there's one other book I would like to read next week as well. Fingers crossed I can get through them both. I also really want my wool to arrive so I can get started on knitting because I've already thought of multiple audiobooks. That's another thing as well. I need to stop starting books. I started Are These My Bazumas I See Before Me on Tuesday, and then because I ordered wool, I've decided that I'm not going to continue that, and then when my wool arrives I'm going to start from the beginning while I'm listening because that gives me an excuse to actually spend a decent amount of time knitting instead of thinking, oh, I should be reading, until I wrap up with work and I can just read and knit whenever I want. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for my wool to arrive and then listen to the audiobook while I'm knitting, and then yeah, I don't know what else because I do have some audiobooks I want to listen to, but none of them are on my TBR, so that I wouldn't really be multitasking. I'd just be reading more books so that I can knit. I'm still in a period of mourning for Deadly Dreams. I just like occasionally I'll just think about Colith and be sad, which I mean is my status after finishing any book by Kelsey in that series, because Colith deserves the world and she's just mean to him. Everybody's mean to him and it's not fair. So yeah, I'm still in a period of mourning for that, which is one of the reasons why I didn't read yesterday. The main reason is it took me 12 hours to film and edit my entire own TBR, and then I played some Fortnite with Ryan and Curtis, which I've also done tonight. But one of the reasons why I didn't read in between or after any of those things is that I'm sad, and as I suspected, I'm either going to be heading into a reading slump soon, which isn't ideal, or I just want to read romance, like normal new adult angsty romance and new adult angsty fantasy romance. So on that note, I'm gonna go get some reading done before I head to bed. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog if you've made it this far. If you have, please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you wanna. And I will see you guys next week for hella mega candle making. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you'll go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.